My life story just wouldn't be complete without a chapter or two about my racing cars. From early childhood, automobiles, fast cars, and racing were my passion and an integral part of my life. While growing up and listening to other kids idolizing the likes of Babe Ruth, my hero worshipping was reserved for guys like Ted Horn and Tony Bettenhausen. The men who raced big cars, championship cars, Indy cars, sprint cars, and midgets, they were the real men in my world, not the wimps who spent their days chasing some little ball around a field. Our family home was in Dover, a mile or two away from a half-mile dirt racetrack. That was the local speedway. When it came to life on Friday nights, I could hear the sounds of the powerful engines from our yard, and the seductive lure was just too much for a kid like me to resist. My parents managed to keep pretty good track of my brother and I in those days, but with their new grocery store keeping them so busy, I was able to run off to the speedway quite frequently. Each step of my half-hour trip grew shorter as the roar of the cars grew louder. The smell of oil and fuel drifting in the summer night became more pungent as I neared the track, and the cloud of dust reaching skyward served as a beacon to guide me. Admission fees were beyond my meager allowance then, but the agile stature and quick wits of an aggressive 10-year-old were not easily denied. It really wasn't much of a feat to sneak under the fence. In addition to the 1930 and 1940 stock cars racing on Friday nights, the promoter occasionally would get the big cars and their nationally known stars to perform on Sunday afternoons. These special shows sometimes included extra attractions by stunt car performers Joey Chitwood and Jack Kochman. Their death-defying acts of bravery stirred my adrenaline as much as the thundering Indy cars riled my competitive juices. Whatever it was, something inside me was working overtime, and my obsession with racing cars was born. There was nothing in the world I wanted to do more than to drive one of those awesome machines.
And on the white flag lap, Ted Horn still leading the way. Joey Chitwood is second. And Ted Horn takes the win. Joey Chitwood finishes right behind him.
And that feeling stayed with me most of my life. In the late 1940s, things like go-karts and dirt bikes were unheard of. Consequently, a means to satisfy my craving for speed had to be found in a different way. When word got out that a local organization was putting on a soapbox derby in Dover, I begged my father to let me enter. Dad's duties at the new store didn't allow him much free time, but he did consent to my participation and prevailed upon his brother Frank to get involved in the project. Frank had a reputation in the family as a master craftsman, and I soon found out why as I watched his deft hands craft my dream into a reality. In a few short weeks, my uncle's skills resulted in the completion of a sturdy speedster painted in Spartan's familiar company color, brilliant orange. I never thought that 30 years later I would again be driving a car painted bright orange and finally enjoy an occasional visit to Victory Lane. My first real racing experience came when I was 17 years old and took a summer job as a lifeguard at Egbert's Lake. While working there, I became friends with John Paschal. Through him, I bought an old Pontiac, and with the name of Egbert's Lake painted on its side, was soon on my way to spending Saturday nights at a half-mile dirt racetrack just outside of Morristown, New Jersey. The summer after my first year in college, John and I decided to enlist in the Army. When I returned to civilian life, I became friends with Eddie Riker, and eventually, he and I went into partnership to purchase two 1956 Chevrolet late model stock cars. The cars came from old-time driver Pappy Huff in the then-famous Gasoline Alley located in Paterson, New Jersey. They had already seen more than their share of combat, and by the time we got them, the competition was far ahead of their exhausted capabilities. Nevertheless, these cars gave me a chance to gain racing experience with some better-known drivers and the chance to compete at a number of different racetracks around the East Coast. We were a typical low-budget racing team like many others, and the results showed in our lack of success. For the moment anyway, my burning desire to go racing was being met. A year later, a new nose and different quarter panels were added to one of the 56 Chevys, done to meet the rules requiring late-model cars to be no more than a few years old. Of course, nothing on the inside of the car had changed, and chances for glory continued to be elusive. That September, during time trials at the annual Eastern States Exposition in Springfield, Massachusetts, I got my first real lesson in how luck plays such a big part in this sport. During my time trial run, the racing gods decided to frown on me and let a state policeman mistakenly open a gate to the infield. There I was, all by myself, racing against the clock, when all of a sudden, instead of being alone on the asphalt, I found a pickup truck pulling a race car across the track directly in front of me. There was no time for either of us to do anything to avoid the inevitable collision. My car sent theirs plummeting down the asphalt, and I wound up with mine resting on its passenger side. I climbed up and out of the driver's window, and after jumping to the ground, fought to hold back tears as I watched my car catch fire. The good news was that I learned the wisdom of using the number 11 on my car. Not only was it easy to paint, but it looked the same whether it was right side up or upside down. Sometime over that coming winter, I received a phone call from Don Kerr. He said he saw my unfortunate crash in Springfield a few months before. Perhaps I would be interested in driving a new car that he was building. Unfortunately, my driving career with Don Kerr was short-lived and somewhat less than stellar. Riker and I got together again when we came across an almost race-ready 1960 Chevrolet late model. It was missing the engine, but the price was right and we bought it. Eddie took care of building a new engine as well as handling all the other mechanical needs, and I added my meager assistance wherever I could. I later spent a season racing that 60 Chevrolet with Harvey Tattersall's United Stock Car Club in the New England states. I managed to have a few decent finishes and a rare win here and there, but nothing to really brag about. It was during that time that I became friends with Roy Hallquist, one of United's top drivers. This friendship eventually led to Roy building a new car for me, a 1966 Chevy Chevelle. My first race in the new late model was at the annual Eastern States Exposition in Springfield, Massachusetts. You know, the same place where I had watched my old 57 Chevy be destroyed by fire. At this event, I managed to qualify second fast. Roy was on the pole. But as the race progressed, I was plagued with a series of flat tires, causing several unscheduled pit stops and eliminating any possibility of a good finish. In the following year or two, we ran the Chevelle at a variety of tracks throughout the Northeast, with Roy and I alternating driving chores. My friendship with Roy continued, and a few years later we joined forces to put together a 1971 Chevy Camaro and race in the big league USAC Trans Am Series. Going head-to-head with the world's best in road racing, such as Mark Donohue, Sweet Savage, and George Fulmer, turned out to be every bit as difficult as trying to compete with USAC professionals like Alan Bobby Unser, Mario Andretti, and A.J. Foyt, or NASCAR celebrities like Richard Petty and Bobby Allison. I should hasten to mention here that these guys probably never knew who we were, but we were on the same racetracks with them and darn well knew who they were. Roy and I campaigned the Camaro on famous road courses such as Watkins Glen in New York, Breyer Motorsports Speedway in New Hampshire, and Lime Rock in Connecticut. In 1971, I had the distinction of competing in one of the first races run at the now famous Pocono International Speedway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. I also had the distinction of damn near killing myself when the right front ball joint let go and I slammed into the fourth turn wall at some 125 miles an hour. I remember describing it as feeling like someone had hit me in the face with a sledgehammer. Naturally, being the typical macho male, I had to prove to myself that the crash hadn't scared me. So, we rebuilt the car and went back to try again. You know, like get back on the horse and all of that. Well, it's a long time since those days, but I can still clearly recall my return trip to Pocono. On the backstretch of the very first lap, someone in the front of the pack lost control of his car. He wound up spinning towards the infield and throwing up huge sheets of dirt and dust. The entire track was instantly obscured in front of me, and there I was, careening along at 150 miles an hour into a pile of invisible race cars hidden in a dust cloud, and thinking to myself, you idiot, you just had to come back to prove you're not afraid, and here we go again. But miraculously, I made it through the mess of wrecked cars unscathed, and when the day was over, managed to finish 14th in a field of racing notables. Nevertheless, although it may have turned out okay, I was getting very tired of not being competitive. Risking my neck and spending what little extra cash I could scrape together to pursue a goal I had absolutely no chance of attaining was starting to get pretty old. We also ran on the NASCAR circuit when the good old boys from the South made their annual swing through the Northeast. On one notable occasion, Roy had a particularly good outing against them at a small track in Islip, Long Island, where he finished fourth. If it hadn't been for a freak incident with his seatbelt, he actually had an excellent chance of winning the race. I never consider myself a quitter, but sometimes in life you just have to accept reality and use your head. Besides, things in my business were becoming rather exciting and proving to more than satisfy my need for challenges. My little company was growing by leaps and bounds, and more was demanding every cent and every minute that I could scrape together. It became obvious that I had to put my toys aside once again to concentrate on more important things. The Camaro sat collecting dust in a shed in Connecticut for the next several years, and I did my competing in the business world, until one Saturday evening in the late summer of 1979. I was riding my street bike through the back country roads of New Jersey, and by chance wound up at the Flemington Fairgrounds, where the crowds were gathering for the weekly stock car races. Flemington was one of the few dirt racetracks around that I was unfamiliar with, and in fact had only been there one time before as a spectator. I decided to venture in to watch the big kids play in the mud, but I had no idea of the impact that chance decision would have on the rest of my life. During the evening, I discovered that amongst the several different classes of cars competing, one of them was known as the late model division. Much to my surprise, I found that it was comprised of racers very similar in appearance to my retired Camaro. I watched with more than a passing interest as the races unfolded, and by early the next morning was already on the phone requesting a copy of the rules and regulations governing the Flemington late models. My next call, of course, was to Roy Hallquist. Within a few short weeks, Roy pulled the old number 28 from its shed, got it ready to race, and made the long trek to Flemington. Our initial outing was something less than spectacular, but we learned a lot about the track, the competition, and what needed to be done to the car. Although the racing season was almost over, Roy made a number of modifications to our Chevy, and during the remaining weeks we became a legitimate contender, and for the first time in my life it looked like I had a car that actually had the potential for winning. I could hardly wait for the 1980 season to begin. Over the next few years, my son shot a lot of video of our Saturday nights racing in Flemington. I've included some of that video here, along with a few other pictures that didn't make it in elsewhere. This may all appear to be rather self-serving, but after all, it is my story, so what did you expect?
Back a few months ago, I was headlining at a great big nightclub, and he put me up a couple of days early. I came in a couple of days early, and they put me up at what they call the Star Suite. Now here I am, headliner in one of the biggest nightclubs in the country, and I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning in this Star Suite, all by myself. Yeah, that's what I said, all. But I did what I've always done, man, to cheer myself up. I picked up my guitar, I sat down, I wrote me a little song. Now this is how it feels to be alone at the top of the hill and trying to figure out why. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. I used to have a girlfriend, but I guess she just couldn't compete with all of these love stars who keep clamoring at my feet. Well, I probably find me one, but I guess they're all in all for me. Who cares? I'd never get lonesome, 'cause I treasure my company. It's hard, perfect in every way. Can't wait to look in the mirror. Can't wait to look in the mirror. Help me out now, come on. I get better looking each day. To know me is to what? To know me is to love me. Must be a hell of a man. I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard. Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're doing what? We're doing the best that we can. Yes, you can say I can have lots of friends if I wanted, but then I wouldn't stand out from the crowd. Some folks
After years of
say
disappointment,
that
I finally had my 15 minutes of fame. And while it wasn't exactly in the same league as racing at Indianapolis, it did serve to satisfy my lifetime craving to drive a competitive race car on the track, and I loved it.
I fill out my skin-tight blue jeans. Whoa, come on, where's all the kickers in here? Whoa, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. When you're perfect in every way. Can't wait to look in the mirror. I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking. I get better looking each day. To know me is to what? To know me is to love me. Must be a hell of a man. Must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard. Lord, it's hard to be humble. What are we doing? We're doing the best that we can. One more time. What are we doing? We're doing the best that we can. Give yourself a hand. Yee-haw!
I hope you didn't find all of this too long or too boring, but my racing days were such a big part of my life, I just had to save my memories to share with my friends and my grandchildren.
Day of July, years 2005. This was my first trip back to Flemington in 20 years. In that period of time, the track was paved, and then finally it was closed. And I'm here visiting because in the background you can probably hear the construction noises. The track is rapidly going away. Now it brought back a lot of memories. I stopped by the other day and got permission to come in and visit today. I just thought I would like to look around, save a couple of memories on the videotape. For the first time, I'm excited.
Now Gary Raymond, the 6 followed by Dean Corman, the 4G7. Raymond and Corman coming up quickly to the field. Now Raymond makes a pass in front, turn 4.
Finish line was up here. In the infield is where the kids were. Back in the corner over there, coming out of the second turn, where I had one of my worst crashes.
One last kiss before we say.
Driving to number 77. Gary Raymond, big Quebec winner here. Car number 28, he has 5 Quebec winners. hot. Here we go. Into number 3 corner. Car is fine.
Down here with Victory Lane. Fortunate enough to spend a lot of time there too.
It's gonna seem like a repeat, huh?
In third, Mike Ewing is number 22. Fourth, Clyde
These are basically points for
That's pretty lucky.
in the 76A.
Look at him.
He was timed at 22.85, 98.6 miles per hour, a new track record by Gary Raymond. New record. So Raymond, what do you had? 22.85, 98.6 miles per hour, winning his third in a row, Gary Raymond. Sakala to the Speedway office immediately, please. Doreen Sakala to the Speedway office immediately.
To be very honest with you, that's a little perspiration. It's also a few tears. In fact, a lot of preparation. Very good. I learned a lot about sportsmanship here, and I learned that it doesn't matter what station you're at in life, great can be good, or you can be someone that is not very good. I was just telling a story recently that I remember coming here without my mechanic, Roy Holquist, one night, and they wanted to inspect my car or see if there's any rules violations. So they had to pull the head off, and I'm not a mechanic, never was. A couple of my competitors came over, brought their tools, opened the hood, took apart my motor, put it back together, we were inspected, we passed inspections, then I went out and beat them all. That happened a couple of times. It's just such a warm feeling knowing that you have people like that around that were good competitors, but they were also good friends. I just started racing here until I was in my 40s. It was an aspiration I had all my life, just never had the opportunity, time-wise, and financially. So this was a chance to come down and play and get it out of my system. For the following 5 years, that's exactly what I did. Anyway, so this is the old Flemington racetrack. I just wanted to record it. So I'd save it, pass it on to my grandkids.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3.
Love is like candy on a shelf. You want to taste and help yourself. The sweetest things are there for you. Help yourself, take a few. That's what I want you to do. We're always told repeatedly the very best in life is free. And if you want to prove it's true, baby, I'm telling you, this is what you should do. Just help yourself to my lips, to my arms. Just say the word and they are yours. Just help yourself to the love in my heart. Your smile has opened up the door. The greatest wealth that exists in the world could never buy what I can give. Just help yourself to my lips, to my arms, and then let's really start to live. All right. Yeah. My heart has love enough for two, more than enough for me and you. I'm rich with love, a millionaire. I've so much, it's unfair. Why don't you take a share? Just help yourself to my lips, to my arms. Just say the word and they're yours. Just help yourself to the love in my heart. Your smile has opened up the door. The greatest wealth that exists in the world can never buy what I can give. So help yourself to my lips, into my arms and then let's really start to live. Just help yourself to my lips, to my arms, just say the word.
You got something for me. Oh, I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key. I ride my bike, I roller skate, don't drive no car. Don't go too fast, but I go pretty far. For somebody who don't drive, I've been all around the world. Some people say I done all right for a girl. Sometimes you run, sometimes you stay, but it goes around and you find your way. Sometimes it hurts, oh it hurts so bad. You curse the sky, you get so mad, but it goes around and you find your way. Sometimes when I was just a kid, I'd argue and want my way. But after many years had passed, I remember what my daddy would say. Oh, sometimes it's night, sometimes it's day. Sometimes you run, sometimes you stay, but it goes around and you find your way. Oh, sometimes it hurts, oh it hurts so bad. You curse the sky, you get so mad, but it goes around and you find